Hey, Steve Magnante here at High-Octane Classics in Auburn, Massachusetts on a beautiful New England summer day with the 1967 Chevelle Malibu SS 396 Tribute. Now we'll get to that in a second. Now what is a Tribute? Basically it's a vehicle that looks the part, runs the part, but wasn't born as a super sport. We'll get to that again in a second. But the difference between an SS and a lesser Malibu in 1967 was $391. The base price on an SS 396 was $2,825 versus $2,434 for a basic Malibu. So for that $391, you get a standard 396 engine under the hood, which is a big block, not available in any other Malibu in 1967. And of course, 66 was the first year for the SS 396 as a regular option and became one of Chevrolet's biggest selling intermediate-sized muscle cars. And to most people, the SS 396 versus a Pontiac GTO, the 396 is potentially a more potent engine if it's breathed upon with a better intake, headers, and a camshaft. By contrast, the Pontiac 400 or 389 is not a bad engine, but it has less potential in maximum performance situations than the big block Chevy with its canted valves. So it was kind of a toss-up. They were both very popular on the street and strips all across America. Now, this one here has been lightly modified with disc brakes up front, which were an option in 1967 for the first time. In 66, these would have been drum brakes, but these are Delco Moraine discs with drilled and slotted front rotors. And of course, American Racing, polished aluminum wheels, front and rear, classic stuff. They're wide and wider. In other words, the rear wheels are a little bit wider than the fronts, which is cool. It gives it a nice action stance, if you will. And of course, the SS 396 also came standard with this hood, which doesn't do anything at all except help sell muscle cars. And by 1970, there would be a cowl induction hood, a whole different thing on Chevelle. But this is not functional, but it looks great. And when you pull up next to one of these in your GTO or your Roadrunner in 1968, you would see this on the hood and say there's a big block under the hood of that thing. Now this hood was not available on non-big block Chevelle Malibu type cars, and basically this meant big block power under the hood. Let's look at the front of this and see at the center of the grille has the SS 396 logo right there, which was standard part of the SS 396 vehicle with the big brakes in the big block under the hood. Now let's take a look inside and see what we find there. 4-speed or automatic? Let's take a peek. It's both, actually. We'll get to that in a second. Now this one has a 4-speed and an automatic. You might say, how can that be? Well, it's a modern 4L60 4-speed overdrive automatic transmission, which is to say that it has overdrive in the top gear, which saves you fuel and engine RPMs on the open road. It's not something you get in 1967 from the factory. The 4L60 and the Turbo 400R were also the products of the 1980s, but they're great transmissions. And this one here is by Shift Works, complete with the horseshoe type shift right there. But you can see a 1, 2, 3 overdrive. So this is definitely an aftermarket automatic under the transmission tunnel. Nothing wrong with that. Speaking of aftermarket, this one has a special induction system. No 4-barrel carburetor here, and we'll take a look at that in a moment. And of course, the bucket seats in this were not standard fare on Super Sports, unless you're talking about full-sized Impalas. In the mid-size line, the buckets were extra for the A51 bucket seats, and the center console were not standard stuff, but they've been added here on this Tribute. Speaking of that, the carburetor or the induction system, let's have a closer look at that. I mentioned this car is a Tribute to an SS 396. Let's see if there's really a 396 under the hood. Let's pop it and have a look. Sure enough, there's no mistaking the mighty Chevy big block, the wide valve covers right there hiding the canted valves, the porcupine arrangement as they call it, semi-hemi in the magazines back in the day. So definitely a big block motor transplanted into this one. Now we know it's not an actual SS 396 because the VIN begins with a 136, which means a V8 Malibu. 138 would be the prefix for an SS 396. But here's the thing, the car doesn't know the difference. It's going to run just the same either way. But with that said, let's take a peek at this 396. I see headers with the heat shielding on the spark plug wires. Never a bad idea to keep them from arcing out and burning. Often has a 360 aluminum intake manifold. Nothing wrong with that. This would have had a factory iron manifold more than likely. And under this carburetor, the air cleaner, we don't see a 4-barrel carburetor. Instead, we see a Holley Sniper EFI unit. They're pretty cool. They hide in plain sight, and they do a great job of cold start easing, and also fuel economy is improved to some degree, and power is as good as any carburetor. So nice, some old and new stuff mixed together. Also, we have a serpentine belt on the front, aftermarket CVF air conditioning to cool it off on a hot day, so you can cruise around in comfort and style. Chevrolet wanted to make sure that owners of Super Sport 396 Chevelles were never ignored by the traffic behind them or near them, the rear quarter quarter panels are emblazoned, whatever you want to call it, with SS logos, with die-cast lettering. And of course, at the taillight panel right here, another SS 396 logo at the back, matching the one at the front of the car. So all four corners of this car are readily identified as this being a big block muscle car. And again, it's a tribute, but again, the car doesn't know the difference. You step on that gas pedal and it'll boogie for sure. Inside the trunk right here, we see lots of space for a family of four could travel or do their groceries with this. Plenty of room for suitcases, grocery bags, etc. And something underneath the trunk lid is this sticker with the red lettering on it. It's a warning that the car is equipped with a positive traction rear axle. What does that mean? Well, basically it's a clutch type or a cone type differential inside of the differential, which basically transmits power to both rear tires. So if you're leaving a stoplight or something like that, instead of one tire going up in smoke in the car sitting there in a cloud of smoke, rubber smoke, this will direct power to both tires. The only problem with that is if somebody jacks the car up from one side and inadvertently somebody else puts it in gear, it'll fire up and roll off the bumper jack, which is not good. So GM wanted to make sure that wouldn't happen with that warning sticker right there. It's part of every car with a positive traction differential, from Corvette to Chevelle to Malibu to Impala. They all have that white sticker with the red lettering on it. Great example right here of a tribute car. And again, the beauty of a tribute is that it doesn't know that it's not an actual SS 396 with numbers matching and stuff. And you know, these are desirable cars, and the best part about these is you can drive them and enjoy them. Again, with that EFI system under the hood, plenty of cold start abilities, fuel economy issues, and of course with the 4-speed overdrive automatic, these are things that you couldn't get in 1967. They didn't exist in 1967, but they do now, and they've been built into this SS26 tribute car. So to learn more about this car, check out the pictures, the photo gallery on the High Octane Classics website.